Hey everyone, and welcome back. You've probably heard of the verse that says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." You ever heard that one before? And people quote it, but almost no one understands it, or perhaps they even misquote it. They think it says, or they think that it means that money itself is evil. It doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that. It says the love of money, the obsession with money. That's what is known as the root of all evil. That one misunderstanding has obviously shaped our entire modern world. Money itself isn't bad, it's just energy. It's a system, obviously it's a system of exchange, but when that energy itself becomes the object of worship, everything else begins to rot around it. Governments lose their moral compass, which happened a long time ago. Media completely forget about what the truth is. Society itself becomes addicted to appearance instead of substance. And we no longer ask, is it right? We ask, how much does it pay? What do we get out of it? And that's the shift from meaning to measurement. And look, you can see it everywhere. Politicians trading their integrity for some form of donation. Journalists twisting their headlines for clicks to sell papers. Everyday people drowning in debt, still chasing a lifestyle that they can't afford because the system told them that's success. It starts as survival, really, but slowly it becomes an obsession, an identity. So we don't own our possessions, they own us. And that's how control works. They don't need chains or prisons. They just need you addicted to the chase, to keep you working, to keep you scrolling, to keep you buying, to keep you consuming. Just make sure that you're never questioning. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. It's evil, but it's brilliant. So wake up to it, because the moment you understand how that obsession was engineered, very deliberately engineered, you start to see the strings that move everything else. Let's have a look at how money actually works. Not the version that they taught you in school, the real machinery, the real mechanisms that operate underneath it. And if you do, you'll never look at your pay slip, you'll never look at your mortgage, and you'll never look at your government the same way again. Let's talk about the system. Most people think money is printed by governments and backed by gold. This is a very common thought. I'm amazed at how many people still thought that. Well, it's not. The gold is gone. The gold doesn't back anything. The paper's gone. And what's left is a story, basically, just a digital promise we've all agreed to believe in. And this is a pretty uncomfortable truth. Every dollar in circulation begins as debt. It actually starts as debt. What did you think it was? When a government wants to spend, it doesn't reach into some kind of savings account. It borrows from a central bank that creates new money out of thin air. And at first, that money enters the system as a loan with interest attached to it. But the interest itself doesn't actually exist yet. So the only way to pay anything back is to create more debt. If that's not a Ponzi scheme, I don't know what is. It's a mathematical trap. The economy must keep expanding. It must keep consuming, borrowing, producing, or the whole thing collapses. As soon as that stops, the whole thing collapses. And they call that growth. They call that growth. I call it controlled dependence. Every time new money is created, the value of the money, right, the buying power of the money that sits in your pocket shrinks. And that's what we call inflation, which is considered normal. It's a tax that nobody voted for. It's invisible, it's relentless, and it is perfectly legal. You work harder, your wages rise, but prices rise faster, and you're told that that's progress. They print, you work. Prices rise, you blame. And you blame the wrong people. That's the game. Now think about what they taught you in school. What did they teach you? What's the core learning in school? Get a job, work hard, save your money. They never explain how money is created, because if they did, right, if we all learnt this from a young age, you'd realise that savings are just your energy stored in a leaking bucket. They taught you how to earn money, right? Not to, they teach you how to go out and get a job, but they don't teach you how to understand it. Not even accountants or financial planners learn that. That's not education, people, that's programming. So who wins? The people closest to the tap, the ones who create this credit, right? I wonder who they are. Governments, central banks, big corporations. They spend it before the value drops. You get it last when it's already diluted. It's like a champagne pyramid. The top glasses overflow, and by the time it flows back down to you, there's barely a drop left, but you're told to be grateful for the bubbles instead. This is why inequality isn't a glitch. It's part of the design. And in the next part, we'll talk about what this system feeds on. Consumption, that is, distraction and desire. Because once you see how they keep you chasing the next thing, you'll understand why most people never find any peace, even when they make it, even when they look like they make it. So basically, if money is built on debt and inflation quietly steals your time, what keeps the machine running? And the answer is consumption. The system survives by convincing you that happiness lives one purchase ahead. Look, turn on a screen, turn on any screen. You'll see the same message. Buy this, upgrade that, chase this lifestyle, go here, go there. They don't sell products anymore. What they do is they sell identity. The car is no longer just a method of transport. It's now your identity. It's who you think you are. The phone, it's a tool, but it's also, for many people, a status symbol. And the system needs that insecurity to survive, because a contented, happy population doesn't overconsume. Okay, here's how it works. They create envy, they present the cure, and you pay for it. And the cycle resets. Marketing isn't information anymore, it's psychology weaponized. Every color, every soundtrack, every word is tested to hijack your dopamine long enough to make you click the buy now button. They've replaced purpose with pleasure and called it freedom. Let's have a look at social media. People don't share their lives. What they do is they broadcast an edited brand of themselves. Everyone's selling something ultimately, even if it's just some form of validation. The hustle culture, the manifest success, the live your best life, all the same script really, written by corporations that profit from your exhaustion. What they've done is they've turned authenticity into content and self-worth into metrics. And while you're busy chasing the next thing, your real worth, which is obviously time and focus and peace, well, all of that slips away. And the irony is, the system that you think you are mastering, or that you're actually in control of, is quietly mastering you. You don't need chains to enslave a population. You just need to convince them to measure themselves by things that they can never actually keep, never hold on to. And in the next part, we'll follow that energy up the chain a little bit to the people who benefit from keeping you distracted. The governments, the banks, and the media working hand in hand, because when you see how they feed each other, you'll see why every headline, every crisis, and every election that we have ends up looking basically exactly the same. See, by now you can see the pattern. The system itself runs on debt, runs on distraction, and runs on desire. But there's just another piece, and that is the fuel line that keeps the entire engine just humming along there. Government, media, two faces of the same machine. One sells the control and the other sells the story that makes it acceptable to you. Every few years we're told, well, look, we're going to have a fresh start. We have a new leader. We'll have a new slogan, a new promise to fix the economy, but the economy itself isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Borrow, spend, print, repeat. Governments don't create wealth, they harvest wealth through taxes, through inflation, and through policy that always seems to favour the donors over the voters, right? They talk about stimulus and growth, but every policy conveniently keeps you working harder for less real value. And then there's the media. What are they? The media is the amplifier. Every crisis becomes a headline. Every headline becomes revenue, dollars. Fear, better. Fear is the best business model on earth. The media doesn't tell you what to think. It tells you what to think about. It decides which stories get buried, and it decides which get repeated until they become truth by repetition. That's not journalism as far as I'm concerned. Can you notice the rhythm? War, pandemic, recession, climate emergency, always something. Each crisis justifies another spending package, another law, another round of control. And the public panics, the government borrows, the banks lend, and the media cheers. And the result? More debt, more dependency, more distraction. Every crisis has a sponsor, and it's never you. The government needs fear to justify power. The media needs fear to sell attention. The banks need fear to keep money flowing. It's a closed circuit, and we are the battery. You pay for your own programming with your time, taxes, and trust. So again, in the next part, we'll step away from the illusion of power and talk about real wealth, what it actually means to be rich in a world that is built on debt. Because once you redefine wealth, the system starts to lose its grip. It starts to lose its grip on us. Now let's talk about what it really means to be rich. Because everything we've covered so far, which is the money, the debt, the media, the governments, it all leads to this point. See, the biggest lie that was ever sold isn't that money brings happiness. It was that freedom comes from having more money. But real wealth has nothing to do with digits in the bank or numbers on a screen. It's more about control of your time, your focus, your peace of mind. You can have hundreds of millions of dollars and you can still be flat broke because you've traded every hour of your life to get it. And that's not really freedom, is it? That's a nicer cage, really. More attractive cage. The system sells you the dream of financial independence, but look a little bit closer. It's still some form of dependence, isn't it? Dependence on a salary. Well, what happens if that disappears? Dependence on credit. Dependence on interest rates that you can't control. And every time they move the goalposts, a new tax, a new rule, a new digital currency, CBDC's coming. You start the race all over again. So they don't want you free, they want you very much comfortable, just comfortable enough so that you comply. See, freedom isn't about abundance, it's about enough, having enough to live, without begging, enough to think without fear, enough to say no when the world demands yes. That's why the wealthiest people that you'll ever meet might not actually drive the best cars. They just stopped measuring their worth by their possessions or what they owned. So the system can't control someone who needs less. See, the more that you chase what they tell you matters, the further you're going to drift from what actually does matter. You don't actually need to escape the system by burning it down. I've said this before. You'll escape it by understanding it and refusing to play the part that they're trying to write for you. True wealth is awareness. And once you see the game, you can choose to stop playing it. So here's what comes next. I think this is how decentralization, how community, how spiritual grounding can maybe return the power to us, to the individuals. See, everything we've talked about, the obsession, the system, the illusion of freedom, it all points to one thing. We don't need any kind of revolution. We need a reset of values. The old system isn't going to collapse overnight, but people are beginning to wake up. People are beginning to ask questions one by one, and then they're quietly looking at ways that they can step out of the game. The shift starts when you realise that you don't have to wait for anybody's permission. Governments obviously centralise, bureaucrats consolidate, but truth and technology always find a way, somehow, to decentralise. And that's why we're seeing movements in the sound money, independent media, open source tech spaces. You know, we've got local trades, all ways of taking back control without basically asking the system to approve it. Is it okay? I always talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not just code, it's a statement. It's a statement that says, we don't trust you to hold our keys and our wealth anymore. And beyond finance, the same principle applies. The future belongs to people who can create, think, and exchange directly without middlemen, without the financial institutions. The next era of wealth won't be measured in dollars, it's going to be measured in resilience, in who you can trust, who you can call, what you can grow, what you can fix. So community is the new currency. Skills are the new savings. The world might digitize everything around us, but the people who stay human, and you can, will own what matters the most. I think the deeper layer of this shift isn't economic, it's more spiritual. See, money isn't evil, but when it becomes your master, when it rules your life, you'll lose sight of truth itself. You cannot serve God and mammon. And that verse isn't about religion. It's got nothing to do with religion. It's about alignment, about choosing what governs your heart. When you stop serving the system, you start maybe serving the truth. And that's, I believe, where real power actually lives. So the love of money built the world that we see. The understanding of it will build the one that replaces it. I don't think it's worth waiting for change to come from above, like a lightning bolt. It never will. Learn. Just learn instead. Question. Share. Value the truth over status. The truth is way more important. Measure wealth in freedom, because when enough people stop feeding the illusion collapses. So that's it. Money isn't the problem itself, it's the mirror. It reflects everything we worship. Comfort, control, image, survival. And until we face that honestly, nothing changes. We live in a world that traded wisdom for wealth and purpose for profit. We measure success in digits, not depth. But the moment that you step back just long enough to see the pattern, you'll realize how fragile the whole system, the whole thing is. It only works because we keep believing in it. And the second that we all stop, it cracks, and then what? So stay awake, stay curious, and never stop asking. Who profits from the version of the truth that you're being sold? Because if the love of money is the root of all evil, the love of truth is going to be what pulls it out by its own roots. So thanks again for joining, guys. I hope you got something out of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with someone who you're not friends with. It doesn't matter. Throw a comment down below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.